good article. I agree with all the points. This whole exploit makes me think of all the times that I've gone through an installer and seen the Java installer window say support runs 3 billion devices. I mean, that's part of what's at stake here. So Java is everywhere, multiple versions. It's kind of a dumpster fire out there right now.
Yeah. So yeah, you and I were kind of talking offline, and I kind of admitted, like, I guess I didn't realize, like, it took me a little bit to, and I'm okay admitting this, like, this is actually pretty bad. This is not just like, the regular like Patch Tuesday updates that we get. This is pretty bad.
It's a 0 day. This whole thing started out in Minecraft. That's where it was originally like brought up, is like, oh, it's easy to put in this specific string and get access and crash a Minecraft server. And then to realize that it's widely exploitable in so many different environments. And we're not just talking about like apps that you might have that might be on workstations or servers. That's a huge attack vector, but SaaS providers, where you're using third-party hosting, their systems, even logging, like, third-party logging sources. This is a little bit of like everywhere in the entire IT chain. It's kind of baffling.
I mean, we can probably talk about this for like an hour, but I mean, when you take like just a medium-sized organization, maybe they've got 2 or 3 IT people, to think about all the cloud instances, all the applications. I mean, this is not something that you can probably do in a day. I mean, again, every situation is going to be different, but this is, I mean, let's talk about the amount of work that this would take on their part.
If you don't have an inventory, a very, very specific and accurate inventory of what you have, I just think you'd be shooting blind. You'd kind of probably go to, what system am I pushing patches out to my system? Do I have some visibility into what's installed on my system? Like, that would be a really, really difficult place to start from. If I have some of those systems, if I'm using some vulnerability scanning in real time, I'm probably further down the road. I think at best, for organizations that have, honestly, like cloud-based firewalling, having all of your traffic being able to be visually inspected, services that do full PCAP captures on the network, being able to inspect that network traffic, would be able to see, either stop or identify, do I have some exploits that are being taken advantage of or targeted? Because the internet is awash with port scanners and vulnerability scanners right now. Like, I'm surprised that Verizon's network isn't crashing or somebody's network isn't crashing. But and on that, I mean, this isn't going to go away for anytime quickly. There's an immediate things that have to be done to stop it at whatever gateway you have. That's where that cloud-based firewalling would be able to say, okay, here's what we know, here's what we can stop. I still have to fix everything inside my network. If it still comes inside my network somehow, it can still be exploited, but I can at least stop it. But this is going to be with us for a long time, and there's going to be applications and systems that can't be patched. And that's where something like a software-defined perimeter, zero trust network architecture, that's where those kind of things really come into play, because I can wrap a virtual wrapper around that. I can really protect granularly. I think we're going to see some big shifts. I think we're going to see some really big shifts off of this.
So you just mentioned zero trust, and it made me think of authentication. So I mean, this is a pre-authentication type of a deal. So like the whole argument, oh, I'm already authenticated, like I'm good, like that doesn't count here.
In some cases, I could definitely see no authentication needed, like hashtag no authentication needed. But yeah, what you could potentially plug in, hack a Wi-Fi really easy. Again, phishing email is going to be the biggest vector on this. I think is, somebody inadvertently clicks a link, it's got some malicious scanner on it, something that can run really low level. You don't need a lot of permissions to get in here. You just need to be able to scan, find a target, and then start executing some code on it. Remote code execution, really, really dangerous stuff.
So, when it comes to security, we're all in this together, so I think of, these people that are working remotely, and they're working on a laptop that's probably a little old, maybe isn't all the way up to date on patching. are there any like little things that like us as end users can do? Like, is it as simple as typing in our search bar like window update settings and then just having the computer do all the updates that are available?
I mean, that's always a great recommendation. I would just add to that, maybe go into your applications and programs and see if there's anything specifically for Apache. I think on workstations, it would be unlikely unless you're using some sort of third party, some software. But then again, that might not be, because this can also be componentized and put in applications. You might not know that this application that you install locally on your laptop has this vulnerability, and it's probably not going to get in a Microsoft patch or anything like that because it's so specific.
Sure.
Behavioral based endpoint, something that is not just looking at antivirus scans, traditional, I don't want to name names, but the kind of traditional AV. You really want something that's looking at the behavior. What is my system trying to do? What processes? What is it trying to open up a PowerShell and do some command, or open up a command line and do some scanning? Those next gen EDRs, that's what's going to help identify the exploit in progress. If you don't know what's in your environment, if you can't like on the spot say, I'm using this, and this, I know where it is, or have some sort of tool, some sort of system, somebody looking over your shoulder, I think that's where I would say organizations need to pivot and need to go, I need help. I need a partner to do this with me side by side and that knows my environment, that can offer really good support and services to respond when things like this happen, because they're gonna keep happening. And again, even in the SaaS world, there's some big name people that have some exposure on this. So yeah.